Islam. Assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Rahim Bradley. I am in the United States of America. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, because you never know when this is going to be seen and do a show called Underground Railroad, but this is the podcast and got Johnny with me. Brother, please make an introduction of yourself, my co-host.
Greetings, everyone. I am Johnny Johnson. Just want to come in and see what I can contribute to what's going on in the news. We got a lot going on.
It's first of all, what I would like to say that what sincerely the individuals, the soldiers that got killed in Jordan, what, and my heart, I'm not gonna say heart, but you know what, my feelings go out to them. And you know what, anybody, any soldier, any sailor, any Marine, a frogman, a sniper that gets killed, it touches me because you know what? Why on this? Because you know what? I was in the military. That's something it is. I was in the military, and you know what? And I guess I may have went in for the wrong reasons, but it turned out to be something that was right. And it touches me when somebody in the military, like what's going on in Iraq and possibly Iran, maybe bomb, and a personnel I in danger, in peril, in danger, but that is what we sign up for. But you know what? But I think I took things the wrong way. I took things the wrong way because what happened is I thought that the strike in Jordan set up by the proxies, a proxy army that is actually controlled by Iran. I thought that U.S. President Joe Biden, I thought that he waited too long to make the strike. And you know what? I was wrong. And like I say, our soldiers, our sailors that across, whoever's looking at this, in the military. And I don't want to see anybody in the military hurt. And I hope for peace. I mean, Johnny, what did you think? We're going to talk about the news. What did you think about those people, the soldiers, getting killed by a proxy army that's controlled by Iran? What did you think?
Like you were saying, my heart goes out to them, and I mean, you say this is what we sign up for, but I don't think that's what we sign up for.
I mean, not sign up for. Thanks for correcting us. We know that it's a possibility that it can happen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, we do accept the possibility. We accept the risk. It's a hard thing to accept. Because when I was in the service, I didn't. I mean, I knew what the possibilities were, but it wasn't what I wanted. I wasn't going in like some people. Like some people go into the service, they want to go to war, they want to fight, they want to see what it's like. Some of them not necessarily want to see what it's like. They want to fight. They want to shoot at or actually shoot people. People going in service for a whole lot of different reasons, and most of us don't do it wanting to have to actually go to war. Some people go for patriotic reasons. You know, I mean, I could say that I went for patriot patriotic reasons, but the reality of war was overwhelmed that idea, because I don't think the emotion of patriotism really can compete with the reality of, man, I could get shot or blown up. So,
Yeah.
it's a real decision. And to be honest, I don't think most people that go in really take into account. I think many people who sign up for the military deceive themselves.
Yeah, yeah. You know what though, man? You know when I went into the military, I really went in for the wrong reasons. You know what? I can remember being at home. Actually, I didn't want to follow my mother and father's rules anymore. And I said, wait a minute, I'm gonna get away. You know, but you know what? Once I got in, I found out, damn, I should have stayed at home because the rules that they was putting on me is something that they were supposed to do. But being young, I just wanted to do what I wanted to do, and to be in reality. In reality, I would have stayed in the military if, because what happened is I was in a job classification, like you see a MOS in the army,
Mm-hmm.
that was overmanned, and I didn't take it serious, but it was overmanned. So therefore, I say it was hard to make rank. I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
actually once I got in the reserves, and you know what? And I didn't make the cut, but you know what I'm talking about in terms of making like E5 or something like that. But actually, man, I thought the military, in a sense, it was in a sense it was a good place because you know I could say I somewhere grew up, and you know what, started taking on more responsibility. But I got the opportunity for you sailors, Marines, Army, Air Force. I got the opportunity to see the world, and
Mm-hmm.
if I would have known what I know, I would have done 20 years. I would
Mm-hmm.
have done 20 years. I have a cousin, you know, Sylvester, you know, he did 20 years, and he retired at 38 years old. 38 years old. And he get good pension. There's nothing economically. I think it's no better feeling. But you know what? But actually, I think the military is a good place, but I can understand why people don't go in. But I'm saying if they're conscientious objector, I'm saying like not, I'm talking about battle. I'm saying if this goes against their religious practices to be involved in it. But I don't think it's a bad place to grow up. I really don't. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Well, I think people have to not go in. I don't care what your situation is, and I
Mm-hmm.
and I learned this from experience. I don't care what your situation is.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go into the military and a mental desperation, right? Don't go in thinking, okay, I have little or no option. I don't know what I'm going to do. So this is the only thing I can do. This is my way out.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of us go wrong. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean,
the the
yeah.
and I tell everybody this, and this is uh, you know, eh, news you can use
Mm-hmm.
when you go into the military.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care how limited you think your options are, fully explore that option. Understand what you're getting into. And that's going beyond the idea of looking at the risk, right? I'm not even talking about that at this point. I'm talking about fully examine the opportunity. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have in mind the risk, but fully examine the opportunity and maximize your opportunity. Examine
Yeah.
what all it offers you and all the things that they present as what the military offer you. Explore those and see how it can benefit your life, right? Even
Yeah.
if you don't know what you're going to do, look at how what possibilities it gives you to do.
Yeah.
So, and chief among them is education.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
education assistance and college tuition.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
I
besides
would say,
that,
hmm,
and
yeah.
I just add one more thing. And besides that, one of the biggest things that the military offer that a lot of us fail to take advantage of is the
Hmm.
fact that they have ROTC, where you can go to college,
Hmm.
join ROTC,
Yeah.
and they pay your tuition for
Yeah.
2 years without you even having to make a commitment
Yeah.
until after those 2 years. And if you do make a commitment after those 2 years, when you
Yeah.
do go into the military, you go in as an officer.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? To all the people and the people that are looking at this that served in the military, is in the military, are thinking about it right now, or getting you know what, I would say it's a good place to go, but I would say, if I would have listened, I think the best thing to do, if you have like a leadership mindset, is to get in ROTC and go to college. It is go to
If
college,
if you
but
if
uh-huh.
if you don't have a leadership mindset,
Yeah.
you could still go to ROTC
Yeah.
and perhaps develop one.
Hmm. Yeah. So I
Right?
mean,
You get
yeah, absolutely. And you know what? And but like I say, you know what? Like I say, the three people, the people that got killed overseas in
mhm,
2024 in Jordan, my
mhm,
heart go not heart. I mean, my feelings go out to them, and my
mhm.
prayers go out to them. And you know what? I thought, due to my ignorance, okay, that I was reactionary when U.S. President Biden didn't react. I'm talking about to these people, to these soldiers getting killed, and I was wrong, because I see what he's doing now. I was wrong because my mind was just with them, and I was like impulsive the way I did not understand why he was taking so long to retaliate. Okay. And I did not understand it. And like I said, that has something to do with my emotion, but I would say that he made the right decision. I mean, what do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, so we have to uh I, I think this country is
Mm-hmm.
so very divisive, so very tribal.
Mm-hmm.
To, and that tribalism takes our peace, all except for perhaps the ones that's orchestrating the tribalism and the um, polarization.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I'm using these new words that I'm finding. All right, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be good for me down the line. I guess
Mm-hmm.
they, maybe operating in a Machiavellian uh, personality disorders
Now I got
but
to
we
ask
shouldn't.
you. Now I got to ask you what you know. What now? I got to tell the truth to you and the listeners of the. I don't know what Machiavellian means. So if you could tell me, that's right. I don't know. Damn it! If I don't know, I don't know.
So there's like 3 different personality.
Oh,
I'm gonna call
okay.
it. I'm may not be using the exact terms, but this is
Mm-hmm.
something that I've been studying for a while, so I'm just using what I've learned. But and it may not actually be a person, maybe another category to put this in, but I'm gonna call them personality disorders.
Okay.
So you have, and for me, there's different degrees of it. So on this personality disorder, we have first narcissism,
Yeah.
and it gets like progressively worse. Narcissism. Um, I'm not even sure where to put the next 2, but I go
Mm-hmm.
psychopathy and then Machiavellianism.
Okay.
So narcissism or Machiavellianism and then psychopathy. So with narcissism, it's just basically a manipulative personality to the
Yes.
extreme. Because I think we
Yeah.
all can be manipulative to on some level. It's
Yes.
part of our nature, you know, uh, due to the reality of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, there's different extremes of it. So if you get to one extreme, you're on the narcissist level, where
Yes.
where it's not like you may be unmindful of, have a momentary unmindfulness, and you're
Yes.
manipulating.
Yes.
Narcissism is like, it's a lifestyle of manipulation,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
and uh, then when you start going to the next level, which I'm gonna make that the Machiavellianism,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes kind of diabolical. It's like a
Yes.
creed you live by. You live by the creed of manipulation. You
Yes.
it's somewhat it's mostly deliberate, and is done in order to get ahead, to subjugate people. Uh, it's rather sinister. And then
Yes.
psychopathy is like a level where it has really left personality disorder and gone into uh, a mental disorder.
Yes.
On the To me, this is how I interpret it. Uh, the DSM made okay. I don't want to explain DSM, but it's a book in the psychology field that helps
Yes.
psychologists find the particular mental illness. But psychopathy would be like, to me, on the level of schizophrenia,
Okay.
where this is where you might find those psychopaths that uh kidnapping folks, and you
Yes.
know spiking folks drinks, and all
Mm-hmm.
this, just
Mm-hmm.
that far out stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So um yeah. So but we don't so I think a lot of people in our political arena, mostly the ones that you don't see, these are like maybe your Illuminati and people that's
Yes.
orchestrating it, that we don't see behind
Yes.
the scenes, that really have this Machiavellian type of uh modus operandi toward the rest of us, where they're
Yes.
manipulating and using us and creating this tribalism and polarization, so that when Joe Biden doesn't retaliate against Iran like that, they already in the news, oh, he's weak. And they already know why he hasn't retaliated, because they already
Mm-hmm.
know the process. They know that the US as a superpower does not and should not retaliate right away, because it makes no sense. Because first of all, I mean, it's just like anybody who really has any real power.
Mm-hmm.
You wisdom tells you that you don't have to be reactionary.
Yes.
Be cool. When you got this, you can afford to be cool. And Joe Biden, being a seasoned politician, he's
Yes.
been around a long time, a senator for decades, and then he was VP. So he
Mm-hmm.
knows how this works. He
Yeah.
understands international politics. So
Mm-hmm.
of course he's not going to be out there being a cowboy like you might expect from Trump.
And
He's
Ronald
going,
Reagan. Yeah.
he's going to be cool, level-headed, take his time, because you got to first of all do your due diligence. You got to
Yeah.
get all the details, get your intelligence agencies to corroborate the story of
Mm-hmm.
what actually happened, and then you have to talk about how to respond, when to respond, and then you
Yes.
got to recon your targets. You should,
Yeah.
because if you don't go through the process, that's how you end up dropping bombs on babies.
You know what? I agree, but again, for me, I would say for me, like I said, I reacted that way. I was looking at the news, looking at CNN, Fox, or ABC, or CBS. I was reactionary. But you know what? For me, first of all, his polls went up. You know what? I don't know if that was a cause and effect, but you know what? But for me, I would say it, to me, it shows something about U.S. President Joe Biden, that he is a mature man. And he did not, although there were people that were screaming, I'm screaming at the top of their lungs. Why is he waiting to do something? He was intuitive enough. He was wise enough to know that, you know what, before you do something like this, regardless to half of the country, most of the country hollering to do something immediately, he was smart and savvy enough to say, you know what, I'm going to sit down and plan, and I'm not going to be reactionary. For you people that are listening out there, in your opinion, did he do the right thing by waiting? In my assessment, he did the right thing by waiting. But I would have been, I guess that's just the type of person I am. I would have been reactionary. So that says something about me, because you know what, you need to sit down and thoroughly think about, because you're affecting thousands of people's lives. I'm talking about in the Navy, in the Air Force, in the Marines, in the Coast Guards. You are affecting their lives. But like I say, so I commend him, because you know what? Actually, I was talking about Donald Trump. You know what? That I believe, but it's some people that believe that this might not have happened on former President Donald Trump's watch, but we will never know that. But you know what?
I hope we never know that.
Yes, but the fact is let's give President Joe Biden applause for being mature, being seasoned, and regardless to what these news agencies said and what the people said about what he should do, he was smart enough and intelligent enough and wise.
Hold on 1 second for me.
Okay. You know, and I just keep on talking while you doing that. But you know what? But he was smart enough and wise enough to say, you know what? I'm not going to react. And you know what? Something else that President Joe Biden did, year 2024, there are people that wanted him to attack Iran, which they make a preemptive attack. And you know what? I think that it was wise and expedient of him not to do that. I think it was wise because what he's doing is, he said there will be continuous attacks on targets, and there will be proxies. Proxies are armies that are not controlled, that are heavily influenced by Iran in the Middle East, because they get weapons, they get logistics, they get all type of things. And he said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock out the proxies. Okay, the proxies, these not little armies, these armies. And what happened is, when you do that, that makes the big bully out of individual that's in Iran, mullah, think, you know what, I'm looking at what he's doing, and you know what, I'm supplying arms to them, to my proxy militaries in that region. But I'm like, I don't want that done to me. Okay, so I think what it does, I'm not going to say that, it sends out a message. It sends out a message. So these hawks, like John Bolton, okay, John Bolton used to be in President Trump, former President Donald Trump's cabinet, which is a hawk. A hawk is somebody that loves to fight. But sometimes individuals that are hawks that love to fight, these individuals avoid the military. You know, when you really sit back and look at their record. But former President Joe Biden took it in consideration, and you know what, to minimize the loss of lives. And you know what, and I think that he is to be commended for that.
All right, sorry about that, Cliff.
Okay, and you know what, a recap is that U.S. President Joe Biden was seasoned enough to know that if I can knock out the proxies and havoc to these armies and militias that are controlled by Iran will sit back and look at it. Well, you know what? I don't want that done to Iran, done to our country, the mullahs, and make them, I'm not going to say cease, it make them really, really reconsider. What do you think, Johnny?
I mean, yeah, that should be a thought, because that seems reasonable to me. Because right now, I think it's a couple of things. For one, Iran, of course, they don't want their homeland bombed. Like, we don't want to be bombed in our homeland. It's bad enough to have military barracks in a foreign country bombed, but when you bring it home, that's a whole nother level, because of the potential collateral damage, and the psychological effect also of your, call it sanctuary, for lack of a better term, has been violated.
Yes.
So your sense of safety, like in 9/11, that's one of the things that, I don't care where in the US you live, that had a psychological effect.
Yeah.
Because it affected our sense of security.
Yes.
So I think that that's something to be considered. And additionally, there's a lot in Iran that they, to be protected. They have a lot to lose because of their nuclear program. And I'm not assuming they're making nuclear weapons, right? I'm just talking about the benign nuclear uses that they may be developing.
Yes.
So that's a very serious project. It's a very sensitive project that, that definitely will cause collateral damage, with the uranium. You don't want that getting out. And then the other thing for the U.S. to consider also is that's why it was good for them to go through a process and think about how to retaliate, because
Yes.
you have to understand that when you're retaliating,
Yes.
okay, who are you retaliating against? Who did
Yes.
this? We're we're talking about the Iranian government, not the
Yes.
Iranian people. So if you're going
Yes.
to bomb the Iranian, their homeland, what's the risk of damaging the people? So I think Biden may be considering, the PR, the public
Yeah.
relations, and sometimes that has to be taken into account when you're responding to a foreign power, because even though you may have identified a country as an enemy state,
Yes.
you may not want to antagonize the people,
Yeah.
because oftentimes what happens, even with countries that we're having conflict with, we the people don't see those people as adversaries, and often they don't see us as adversary, and they rightly
Yeah.
identify that these are our governments having conflict.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what's interesting? You got these hawks. Hawks are people that are like war, feel that, oh, you know what, patriotic, like Mitch McConnell, John Bolton. And they say, oh, we need to go in. We need to go in and just attack Iran. And I think that is foolish, because you know what? It's foolish. And I think they so fast to say that because they're not the ones that will be on those battlefields. They're not the ones that will be on those Navy ships. They're not the one that has to eat MRIs and be dug into a trench or stuck on the ship. So it's easy for John Bolton and Mitch McConnell and these other conservatives to say, just go all in. He didn't do anything because President Joe Biden, you said there will be continuous attacks on strategic points, like where they have radars
Targets.
and all that. I think that it's I think it would be, excuse the language, I think that it would be acidine, because I was listening to John Bolton and on a television show. We need to go in Iran. They don't understand. If you beat up all, if I got people that's fighting for me, okay, I got like a little gang, and you know what? You beat up all my buddies. You beat up all my buddies to
See,
in my
these are
gang.
the Machiavellian types that's bordering the
Mhm.
psychopathic um
Mhm.
type.
Yeah, yeah,
Where I mean, seriously, it's pretty shameful, but I've been hearing it all my life. It's like every time something go down, you get certain people and of a certain ilk that is, they're just like negative voices. And
yeah,
it's the same as negativity, that every time something happened, they want to hit the nuclear
yeah.
option.
Yeah.
They
I
want to.
mean, I was looking at, because I like all alternative news, but the former general on Fox Television. Look at Fox Television, yeah, sometimes. And you know what he said? Wow, it may be good what President President Biden is doing, but I don't think that it's going to fully be effective unless they attack Iran. To me, that's an acidine statement, because if I'm, let's say for example, if I'm Iran, okay, I got a gang and you beat up all my partners, just helping me. Okay, my partners in crime, you know what? I'm gonna sit back and say, damn, I think we need to pull back. I think that's common sense. So I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, you explained it. You did explain it already. These are people that will never be in the trenches. And you know what? Their kids are their children, are their offspring, because of their influential positions will never really be put on the front line. Okay. And if they do, it'll be for a photo op.
And these are the same
in my
people.
Opinion.
This is the same people who had us in Afghanistan 20 years.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about the, if you understand what Machiavellianism is, as described in The Prince. If you, considering that these are the same people, same mentality that had us in Afghanistan for 20 years. It flies in the face of logic, because just like I was saying, the reason why the U.S. can afford to not be reactionary and take their time in responding to the bombing of the army barracks in Jordan is because we are a world power. The U.S. is a heavyweight in this fight, right? Based on
flow like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Go ahead.
To me it looks like Tyson versus Mayweather.
Yeah.
So when we talking about the U.S. versus Iran and Afghanistan, that's more like Tyson versus Tank.
Yeah.
Devontae, I can't pronounce his name, but
you say something right quick. You got a lot of people that's looking at us online. It ain't showing up in stream, y'all, but they watch. Go ahead, brother.
All right, so Devontae Davis, so it's like Tyson versus him. So why did we need to be in there for 20 years? Right. So it's the same, perspective. Like, we could afford to take our time to respond to Iran and to have the idea that we needed to respond within 24 hours, or in some people thought process within 8 hours. It makes no more sense. In fact, that is ridiculous, but still makes more sense than us as a superpower having to have a 20-year operation in Afghanistan to fix the problem. Whatever we needed to do in there should have been done in 4 years, and I think it was done in 4 years. But you had people, every time there's talk about pulling out, they come in giving reasons why we should stay. These are the hawks you're talking about, and this is that's a Machiavellian mindset. Like, nothing we do matters. There's they don't have any empathy for the atrocities that was befalling Afghanis. Rather intentional, and we know examples of those, or the accidents which were reported, where families who had nothing to do with it was being bombed, being shot, let alone the soldiers that went in and intentionally raped the women and killed the families.
Well, you know what? I think another aspect for the listening audience is these individuals that hop on this attack Iran, that's the only way for it to be effective. Do they have some type of interest to do that? How they going to capitalize on it because they have interest with example, a group called Halliburton, somebody just supplying toilet paper, supplying bullets or something like that to make money from the military industrial complex. Are they making money? What is their interest besides being paid? I'm saying there's some of them that may have an interest. And again, those that are looking that are hawkish, okay, your kids are not going to go out there if you are influential. And what's my evidence in Vietnam? There were rich people whose children, they sat behind the battle lines. This is a fact. Yeah, I hate to say it, brother. This is a fact, Jack. This is a fact. And there's all type of little crazy, I'm not going to say crazy thing. Machiavellian taught me a new word. Machiavellian. He taught me a new word and I messed it up. But the thing is, these are the type of attitudes of John Bolton and other people that are hawkish. They don't give a damn about the people that will die on the battle lines, that will die on the ships, that will die in the Air Force flying their ship, and out of Marines. Because if you could say that easily, it shows a lack of concern, because that shows you're not fully thinking, and you want a lot of American people to follow your path. And this, all due respect to Fox Television, I totally disagree with the general and the generals and the people that said that on Fox Television and other television stations, that we should just think that Joe Biden. I know that Joe Biden.
See, they know better. They know better, but again, they look. It's a sad world that we're living in. It's rather aggravating, because it's a lot of insincerity. Whether you were talking about the political arena or we're talking about social media.
Yes,
right? It's a lot of things in social. It's mirrors what's happening in social media. A lot of people they say stuff that's ridiculous, makes no sense, is mean, is callous. Why? To get clicks.
Yeah. And
it's just they give an opinion that's not even their own. Why? Because it's controversial and they want to use it to get clicks.
And you know what, the Houthis, which is a proxy army of Iran, they stand no chance. I mean, they stand absolutely no chance. They're bombers. They're bombers. I don't know if they came from Texas or Colorado right now. And who knows that they're going to make strategic attacks on them in Yemen, and they're going to be annihilated.
Who's from Texas or Colorado?
The bombers. You got something like B-1 bombers that are coming from Colorado and going overseas, and they
more than likely Colorado.
Heavy payloads to drop bombs on strategic areas in the what you call them? The Houthis
Yemen and Syria.
In Syria, and you know what? But by those strategic bombers that will carry payloads of bombs, once they drop on the Houthis and these other strategical points of reference, Iran will just say, you know what? They my boys, but you know what? They on their own.
Well, we will hope. That's what we hope, but we don't know. Yeah, man, it's
I I think once these massive bombs drop, that the Iranians are going to say, man, we're going to puff up and act tough. Man, they better not attack us, and we're going to help you. But they have no intentions of helping them, because actually they're used. These proxies are being used, okay? And they know what they're doing, and you know what? So your Houthis and the people in Syria who thought that Iran was just on their side and they would help them at any cost, you know what it's gonna be, brother? They on their own. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, if you got a different
however,
opinion,
though, I mean, well, you have to think about Iran is kicking up dust for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So they're engaged in this conflict for a reason, and I'm pretty sure that reason has not been resolved. So they may be hurt by this bombing, but that hasn't dissolved the reason why they're kicking, get in the conflict in the first place. So I mean, I'm not having any expectation that this is going to be the end of it. Is so more than likely it's going to be some type of escalation at some point.
I don't think it's going to. You know what I think? I think that now I'm pulling a hat out. I'm pulling a rabbit out the hat. Now I think that I'm going to sound like somebody. I'm not going to say as I think that the bombing with these big B-21 planes, whatever the name of the bombings, are going to be horrific. It's going to be so massive. You ever see it's something called Goodfellas. He said Goodfellas was a movie, and you know what he said, man. We took everything that we want. I think he said once we hit them so hard, they didn't dare do anything else after that. I think that once these B bombers consistently bomb these proxies, which they don't stand a chance, I think Iran is going to say, damn, I don't want that to happen to me. They my boys would. I puff up, like I will puff up and say, man, I got your back, and all that. But really, I don't think they want no parts of the United States of America. I don't believe that, Russell.
Okay. That may be more wishful thinking.
Because President Joe Biden said the bombing that is going to take place, it's not going to be one day. It's going to be consistent.
And then too, think about that. So you're thinking that more bombing is going to make them want to have less of a desire to retaliate?
I think they're going to. I think is it going to be less? It's not going to be less, but I do not believe. I hate to sound like Donald Trump, the former president. We have massive weapons that are just so powerful, and if you're consistently being bombed, I'm talking about massively, you're gonna. Most people, that's like, man, if you constantly hitting me and I'm in the corner, say if we boxing and you constantly hitting me and I'm in the corner,
you're gonna be knocked out.
I'm gonna cover. And you know what? This is what's getting ready to happen to the Houthis and these proxies that are in Syria and Iraq. They're gonna be hit so hard. They're gonna Iran, and to the proxies out there that may be listening, Iran is not going to lose everything that they got to help you. They're using you.
So, okay, first of all, what you got to consider is that, yeah, we got all these what they call conventional weapons, but what happens with a lot of these I don't know what to call it, maybe peripheral countries or whatever that we consider as not being much of a challenge militarily. They find different ways. You okay?
I'm listening to you. I'm listening
Okay.
to you. Yeah, I'm listening. I'm
They
enjoying the
find
dialogue.
they find different ways to fight. That's been the history of the world. You know, whether it's the peoples of the original nation, Western nations, they found different ways to fight, and you know, some of those battles that they fought was very effective. In fact, the U.S. learned how to fight from them. You know, then you had 9/11. That was a non-conventional way of attacking. So, you know, before we just get all caught up and we got all these powerful weapons,
Powerful.
we need to be not caught up on that and be more concerned about the most powerful weapon that will be able to, that we should be using, is intelligence. So knowing how the enemy is, the adversary is going to respond, you know, what they have at their disposal. That's the weapon that I'm most concerned with.
Sometimes you got to fight force for force, and you know what? Sometimes that's the only thing that a bully understands. Sometimes,
For sure. Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's all. So I'm going back to these soldiers and these soldiers that were killed in Jordan. They should not have been. They should not have been killed in impunity, where there was no retaliation whatsoever. It had to be retaliation, and you know what? But it's smart not to go out around there. And I believe that they're going to be hit so hard because, like I said, once those bombers get there, bro, I understand what you're saying because because the southern borders are just open. They can send in teams from Iran and proxies to cause havoc in the United States because these borders, that's another story. Okay. That's another story. But the thing is, that's something that Iran and all these they can send in, since these southern borders are open, they can send in teams of people to cause havoc.
Mm-hmm.
But and I think that they're doing that right now. Myself, because the southern borders are open.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you feel about the border situation? I mean, because that's a domestic issue. I mean, that, you know, some people might say it's more critical than what's going on overseas.
I mean, the border. You know what? I have mixed emotions. My mixed emotions is uno, dos, tres for the people that I can't speak Espanol, but you know what? I understand to a degree why they want to come to the United States, because if you're living in a totalitarian government, government that is controlled by drug cartels, and you could do better for your family, I would take the chance. You know, if I knew that I could walk across the borders and then somebody is going to bust me to a sanctuary city, I would take a chance. And it's not really a chance. I would walk across the borders too. But how do I feel? I know. So I'm saying two things. It's going to really economically, it's going to impact the United States of America, and it's going to influence our way of life, which is okay with me, because what happened is the United States actually took Texas. Okay, I think during the Alamo, and if I got the city wrong, let me know. Took Arizona, okay, and in a sense, they're reclaiming, even though those are not sanctuary cities, they're reclaiming what was theirs. But I can understand an individual that is coming across those borders. If there's not going to be no resistance, I will come with my family too, to make a better life for them, to move away from governments that may have dictators, or they may be
Mm-hmm.
totalitarian in nature, and they may be drug cartels. But so I'm sort of siding with with Espanol, but the danger is there's
Yeah.
other.
So I, I mean, I think that we need to. The parties don't want to. Obviously, I don't think the Democratic Party or the Republican Party wants to come up with a comprehensive immigration policy. That's why we don't have one. And that's why we keep patchworking the immigration and migration situation as it happens. We keep treating it as an emergency, even though we know it's coming. So, but now I just gotta address. You said that you suggested that they were coming over here based on having a totalitarian government. Okay, so I forgot the new president's name over there, but I don't think that he's well, he may be behaving totalitarian as a totalitarian now, but I don't think that he started out that way. I think he's been behaving more totalitarian recently because of the crises, because of the economic crises, because Maduro, that's his name. So Maduro, I don't think when he came in, he was a totalitarian president. I think because of the failure of the economy and things becoming effectively scarce, in order to keep some type of order, and also I think he was doing a land grab, a money grab, and all of that. Also, out of desperation and some greed, that's when he became totalitarian.
Yeah.
So that's why they're fleeing, and not just that, because of the economy itself is just crashed.
Yeah.
That's why they're coming. And I get that, but still, we have to. And I think in the same way, it doesn't make a sense for our soldiers to get killed and there's no retaliation.
Yes.
For the same reason, I think it doesn't make a lot of sense to just be nonchalant about our borders.
I could understand. You know what? It should be there should be a protocol that should be followed. But I'm starting to lean to where these people, the individuals that are coming in from that hemisphere, Central America, Mexico, Guatemala. I'm using those as examples. I think that once they come in and they straighten this out, I think it may make the United States a better country, because they would get citizenship, and they will sympathize with people that do not have that much, and they get into positions, and they coming in working, because there are a lot of jobs that are available and a lot of people that don't work, and they're paying in the Social Security. I get they're paying taxes. They take their jobs that people do not want to take. Okay, there are, but and it might, you know what, it might just be a blessing for the United States of America. But there's some people that say that the reason, one of the aspects that they may be letting them in, because they may be planning a war, and that may pose to them that you could become a citizen if you join in this crusade. I'm using the word crusade, but really this
Mhm.
war to get citizenship because they think, I'm talking about Trilateral Commission, the Foreign Relations Commission, because they think 20 years in advance that what they can use these individuals, because right now you can get it, you can get into the military and you don't even need a high school diploma because the retention rate is low and there's not a lot of people that are going in. That you don't need a high school diploma, and they could say, we can put them in, and and build them up, and then escalate something and say, for you to get citizenship, you join the military, and and they can. I know that may sound far-fetched to somebody, but that's a possibility. I didn't say that that's a fact because like ships, they have drone ships now because they do not have enough personnel, and they're promoting people automatically if they do a certain amount of time in the military that may not even be, I'm not going to say won't be qualified, but they automatically promoting people. So I think those are some aspects that I have. I think that's what I believe. Anyway,
so I want to thank you, Cliff, for providing your perspective as a retiree. But now let me give you a working man's perspective.
Yes, sir.
So we're not interested in paying into Social Security. We're not interested in, I guess if you're kind of thinking beyond your most immediate needs, then okay, you may be interested in them as being available to join the military and fight a potential war. Okay. But that's not the immediate concern. So what would be an immediate concern that would cause people to feel a certain way and maybe vote a certain way is the fact that we understand that all of these additional persons create a labor force that makes our economy more of an employee economy rather than an employer economy more than an employee economy, which means there's less, they're going to be working somewhere if they're going to be productive in society at all. Other than that, they're just taking resources, right? So this is how the working man is looking at it. Either you're not working and you're taking our tax dollars in terms of services, or you're working and you're taking our jobs. So that's how the working man would see it.
The response is they're taking jobs. But how can that be if there are tons of vacancies that are available right now in year 2024 that nobody's applying for? How?
So
I walk into places like the post office. I walked into the post office and there was a sign up saying we are hiring. So how are they I'm asking, how are they taking jobs? If I walk into places, I can walk down the streets and show you where they're hiring people. So how are they taking jobs? And the jobs are plentiful right now. And people don't want to work. Explain that to me, please.
Because they're working somewhere. So it may be a job that is not attractive to the most of us, but it's attractive to somebody, to some citizen. It's attractive to, and even if it's a job that's relatively unattractive, it's still affecting our employment, and because the jobs that they are taking, that means another job out of the market, which means that you have more people to fill the available jobs. That creates an employer job market. So that what that means is even the ones that are working, that brings your salary down. That brings your pay down, because in an employer market, wages for labor go down.
Man, I get, you know what, like I said, but you know what, I understand what you, I guess, I'm not going to say guess because I'm not in the labor market anymore. You know, whereas I do understand your point, but my point is these jobs are available. Nobody is taking them. They're going unfilled. Why not let these people that come in from that hemisphere fill those jobs? Since it is evident that I think that, you know what, it's a lot. I think it's a lot of jobs out there. It is for people that genuinely want to work. But I agree with you that with the influx of people that are coming in over the Texas borders with Governor Abbott, and he's shipping them to sanctuary cities, that the wages will drop. I agree with that. I agree with you totally on that. But I also say that there are abundant of jobs out there. I think, now I'm going to sound like a Republican, but and you know, I think that there's plenty of opportunity out there. I just believe you can create something outside of yourself, even if you can't even find a job. I believe that, but like I said, I'm not even in the job market no more. So therefore, you might say, what am I commenting about jobs for when I'm not even in the job market? I'm not even in the job market no more. I don't want a regular job, brother, if it's making $150 an hour. I don't. Because you know what?
Yeah, but you know, jobs matter. Jobs matter. Jobs matter even if you are retired.
I'm good. Bro.
And because if people aren't employed, if people are not employed, then they might try to become self-employed at your expense.
Well, you know, they're coming up with universal pay. And you know what? This is being discussed.
That's crazy.
It's being discussed. I think the last candidate was that Mr. Yang brought that up, but universal pay. I know somebody that gets $500 a month because he put his name on a list and he was picked out of their lottery. But I just think that there's abundance of jobs, and you know what? I'm starting to believe, but you're right. I'm not in the job market anymore. I'm not looking for no job because I'm retired. Then you know what you're saying is the same thing a young man told me. He said, Cliff, our brother Raheem, you got to remember something. You retired. Once these people, once the individuals come in from their hemisphere, he echoed the same sentiments that you did. That's going to drive down the wages. Okay, but you see, you don't look at it that way. You're not looking for no. I'm not looking for. But I agree with you on that. But I do believe that there is abundance of jobs that are available. But I do believe that it is going to drive down the wages. I believe that. Yeah, but something I don't understand about your city, Chicago. I don't understand about your city, Chicago, is they're saying that there's too many people coming in to your city, but they classify themselves as a sanctuary city. Now, you know what? Now, I could understand.
No, they don't classify themselves as a sanctuary city. We got mayors that do that for us.
That's okay. But Chicago is a sanctuary city. Okay, New York
So
is
the
a
mayor
class.
says.
Okay, no. Okay, but New York is a class. So if you classify yourself as a sanctuary city, what are you complaining about when you had people coming in? What are you complaining about? Why are you in your city, Chicago? They're going to impound a bus because they're bringing people in, but they classify themselves as a sanctuary city. I don't get your city. I don't get it. I don't get it.
The mayor has said we're a sanctuary city, and
Okay.
which is I think
And
it's a
let me say
contradiction
something. Let me say
because
something to the people that don't understand what sanctuary city is. You may be looking in the Providence. That means the individuals that have not followed the protocol or the steps to get into the country. Okay, they can come to that city. Okay, and basically get citizenship within that area. They can become police officers. That was a law that was passed. They can get an ID. But I don't understand your city. I don't understand Chicago, New York, and California. What are you complaining about? If you don't want to accept no more people in, you need to declassify yourself as a sanctuary city. I don't understand your city. I don't get it. I mean, maybe you could give me some clarity in the individuals that are listening. Can you explain that to me?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
can
I
you?
can explain it. I can explain it by this.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I don't know. What was that? Maybe 30 years ago, there was,
Harold
I believe, it was a
Washington.
woman, and we
Okay.
had it was about 30 years ago. I believe it was a woman, and back then we had what was a immigrant crises
Mm-hmm.
that looks like a just somebody, a tourist. Put it like this: what we had back then as a immigration crisis
Mm-hmm.
by today's standard would be just a tourist business,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
And some woman came here and didn't want to go back home, and ICE, that is Immigration and Customs Enforcement, was looking for
Mm-hmm.
her. They tracked her
Yeah.
down, and she hid inside a church. So it
Yeah. I
became a
remember.
big thing, and the church was protecting her, and
Mm-hmm.
the Immigration and Custom Enforcement didn't want to, you know, cross that line and go into a church to arrest someone. So they kept doing it through diplomatic means and negotiation, etc. But that woman stayed in the church a long time. If I remember, she was in there at least a year, maybe 3 years.
I
She was in that
remember. Yeah.
church,
In
and
your city. Go ahead. In your city. Go
yeah.
ahead, brother.
So uh, Mayor Harold Washington, being the politician that he is, his response was, "Oh, we're a sanctuary city," but
Yeah.
things hadn't reached the magnitude that it did today, and I doubt if he would today, based on the circumstances, declare we're a sanctuary city. But he
Mm-hmm.
kind of set the stage for today by saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And then in hindsight, even then, I even thought he was wrong to say it then, and we wasn't in the crisis that we have today.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though it wasn't a big thing, because we were just talking about this one woman who refused to go home,
Mm-hmm.
still, I didn't feel then, and I don't feel now, that you as a mayor have the right to declare us a sanctuary city without putting it to the people, because last I checked it was still a government of the people,
Mm-hmm.
for the people, by the people.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make sure that this is the will of the people, and he didn't do that.
No. It's like when your mayor ripped Meg's Field, the little Meigs Field where they landed planes apart with a bulldozer, and your people in Chicago sat back and didn't do anything. Your city is funny, brother.
Well, that wasn't really important to the people. That was something that was important to a few, millionaires.
Yeah.
Your
city is funny.
But it wasn't important to the population.
Your city is funny. You're funny. You know what? We don't want it anymore, but you still classify yourself as a sanctuary city. And let me see. You're going to impound a bus that brings people in. And then you know what? But you still classify your city, Chicago. Very funny. It's funny. It's not funny, but you know what? It's an oxymoron. It does not make any sense.
Yeah, it
Chicago,
was,
New York and California. It doesn't make any. That's to me.
Especially with Lori Lightfoot. I mean, she went out of her way to declare Chicago a sanctuary city. And then I believe it was less than a month later, she was screaming about how we're overwhelmed. I mean, that is kind of nuts to me. Because how you go from we're a sanctuary city to we're overwhelmed, and you're complaining and saying the government needs to do something.
Your city is funny. You know what?
We hire.
Yeah.
We elect government officials, mayors, based on supposedly based on leadership. And a part of leadership is vision, having a vision, being able to foresee things. Now, how is it that you wasn't able to foresee this immigration or migration crisis?
Didn't have a will, brother. Let me say something. Let me say something, brother. You know what? Didn't have the will, brother. Do you understand all them people that they let in the city? Do you understand that they was going to be voting for them? That is what's so funny about your city. You know what? They was going to be voting for, but people in your city, Chicago. The people in Chicago are funny. You're funny to me, man. Yeah, it's a funny city. Here it is. You got a site where they're going to put immigrants, and they almost build on it and pave it, and then they found out that the land is contaminated. The individual that owned that land probably was a donor for the mayor, but your city is so funny. And nobody raised hell about it. Do you understand? Man, Chicago, your city is something else. It's your kind of town, though, brother.
Chicago is.
It's your kind of town, brother. Your city and your politicians are funny. Your city that you live in, Chicago, has street cameras. It has the individual speed cameras that gave somebody a contract for 75 years. And you know what? None of your people raised hell. I don't get Chicago. I don't get it. Explain it to me.
That's your boy Rom. That's your boy Rom.
I'm talking about your citizens in your city didn't even raise hell. Explain that to me, bro.
No.
I don't get
it. Bro. Look, we sleep, bro. We sleep.
Your city,
just to make it plain.
Your city, your city, Chicago, your city used TIF money that was supposed to be allocated for people in blighted areas, and they built DePaul a basketball stadium. What is it? I don't understand, brother. I need you to explain that to me. Explain that to me.
Man, we're a selfish city. We so selfish, we lose. People so focused on their profit that they very short-sighted and things that is just stealing us blind over the years. If it ain't got nothing to do with some money in my hand right now, it's like we can't really see it or comprehend it.
Your city is funny, but you know what you people in Chicago do? Y'all still put the same people back in office that don't give a damn about y'all interests, but will make it seem like it during re-election time. I don't get y'all. I don't get it. If you can explain, then your people in Chicago go out and campaign for them, and they get little Wildwood pops after they win an election and chicken wings, and the big boys having steaks downtown. I don't get your people in Chicago, brother. I don't get it.
Hey, basically the people are just like the politicians. And they complain only when they can actually feel that they've lost, that they perceive a loss, but they don't perceive a loss unless it's immediate and very extreme, like noticeable. Other than that, we get milk dry, and there's no acknowledgement that of the losses that we have from political decisions.
Your city is funny, bro. Yeah, but you people in New York, you're funny. You're funny. You're complaining about sanctuary city, but the voted the mayor in during the debate that said that he agreed with sanctuary city. I don't get it. Can you explain it? I'm not from New York. Can you explain it to me?
Oh, well, I don't know. We didn't have much to choose from, right? And but at the same time, that's what we do. If you look at the particulars of the consequences of the immigration crises, and you've seen it. You remember when we went out to the town hall meeting? Yes. People was pretty upset. They
very upset.
They forced some very negative feelings about how our government was handling the immigration crises. However, when they go to the polls, if they go to the polls, they soon forget.
Yes. Your city, Chicago, is funny. You can't even get a citizen review board for the police officers that do misconduct. Explain that to me. I don't get it. Explain it to me about your city. You live there. Explain it to me. I don't get it.
I'm gonna let you handle that one because I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get that one.
Chicago, New York, California, Chicago, and all these cities. You know what? You complain about sanctuary cities, but you voted to put the people in that said that they believe in sanctuary city. It's an oxymoron. What does that mean? Oxymoron doesn't make any sense. It's funny, but you know what? Like I say, I have the people that's coming from that region. Like I said, but you are right. I look at it differently because I'm not looking for no job. But you know what? Going back to our soldiers that got killed, again, my emotions go out to you, and you know what? To the families that were affected by that. And soldiers and sailors and Marines and people that are soldiers all over the world, you know what, my heart goes out to you. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe that at this point, I believe that Joe Biden, by his actions, he has the military personnel. I believe that he has their interests in mind, and he's not hawkish again, wanting to go to war. And I think by attacking Iran, which he made the right decision because it would have been catastrophic. That's what I like to say in conclusion. You got anything you like to say in conclusion? So tell us how to get to your platform, man. Tell us.
Well, you just go to any podcast hosting platform, iHeart, Apple, Audible, Spotify, YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
at The Joyful Sound, Truth and Conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Type that in. You will hear some good information, news that you can use, some good news that you can use.
Do you have a message for individuals that may be looking at this broadcast that may see it in the future, that are in the Army, the Marines, and Air Force, and Coast Guards? And do you have a message for them?
Yeah,
Being a former.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go in fully conscious of both the risk and opportunities, fully explore the opportunities. Once you make, before you make your decision,
Mm-hmm.
and so that you make a fully conscious decision, and you just have to take in account the real risk, because I don't think, and when I was in the service, I used to listen to people's conversation, and it told me that they really didn't consider. And I've even heard people express that, for example, they went in for different MOSs like cook or legal clerk and all these different things, and they thought that meant that if there was a war, they didn't have to go. It's like, you didn't read the contract, did you? You didn't really investigate this?
Yeah.
Like, no, you might as well have went infantry. So at least when you go, you will have the maximum training.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, people were actually had convinced themselves that they would never have to go to war, either because no war was going to happen, or if there was a war, they didn't have they had a job that didn't include war. That's not true. That's you see, like, you see this shirt.
Yes.
This is kind of stuff they gave us in the military. You know why they gave us this? So we can blend in with the battlefield.
Yes. Yes.
That's an indication that you qualify to be on the battlefield.
Okay. And yeah, great. But for the military personnel that are looking at this in Europe, looking at this in Asia, Africa, the United States, I support what you're doing. And I think you got a president that supports what you're doing, because he could have easily had listened to what the other side said and go to Iran and bomb it. And it would have put you in arm's length more danger. And I think that he has your best interest in mind for military personnel that are listening to this. Somebody in the military is listening with this, is going to share this. They are. And I like to say, for individuals that are looking at this in the future, this is what was going on in 2024.
24.
Okay, the fourth date, and you may be able to use this broadcast for case study. Okay, for college students, individuals. If you just want just hear what an average person says. I'm not talking about these big stations. You may be able to utilize this broadcast for case study. So my future generation grandkids that I never see, this is the type of man your grandfather was. Okay. So you're looking at the Underground Railroad, and I encourage you to go to, I'm gonna say, Prophet Johnny. That is his title. I'm gonna stop calling him Prophet Johnny. That is I believe that's your title, and I'm gonna start calling him that. Because that's his title. The Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam addressed people by their titles, whether he agreed, didn't agree, because it was just a form of respect. Okay. And so I'm going to say Prophet Johnson. Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Okay, Prophet Johnson. And I encourage you to go to his platform. And you know what? Because he's working hard to disseminate information. And as he said, his words, he has news that you can use. And
in fact, I want to just comment on that more about what my channel is all about.
Okay.
Now, my channel is a little bit different than most channels because I am teaching spiritual things, and I'm teaching from the King James Bible. And what I do is I teach from Revelation. I teach those things that God has revealed to me. And the thing about Revelation that I want to clarify is that a lot of times people think of Revelation as a word from a prophet.
Yes.
No, Revelation is not a word from a prophet. A word from a prophet is just that.
Yes.
Revelation is a word from God. And then when it is from God, it is confirmable. It's not something that you can hear and then it's accepted because it came from a prophet or someone you trust. Like, I trust this guy. He said it. I believe it. No. First of all, I'm telling you, it comes from God and is confirmable by the known word of God. Just like someone can tell you a price of a product. Well, there's a couple of places where you confirm that price. Either you can look at the price tag or you can go to the price catalog. So whatever I'm giving you, whatever information I'm giving you, you can verify it by looking in the price catalog and it's there. So it's not my personal opinion. It's not something I made up. It's not my interpretation. I'm just breaking down. And the reason why it's Revelation is because when you look into the scripture, it's just like Philip when he went to the Ethiopian that was, I believe he was at the chariot. He was a eunuch of, I believe, Queen Candace. And now he was reading a passage of scripture, I believe the 53rd chapter of Psalms. And the 53rd chapter of Psalms is itself Revelation. However, because of the darkness or the absence of full understanding, we need revelation, other revelation. That is, there's verses that we need someone to break down for us to give us understanding of what it means.
Yes.
And the revelation or the understanding and teaching that I have from the biblical verses is revelation from God. So I don't give my personal opinion. I give what God has revealed to me. So that's what my platform is about. And, I'm really glad to offer that and invite you to listen and get true understanding about what's going on, because I just have to be honest. Most preachers are preaching their experience their interpretations, their feelings, or the political paradigm of today.
Yes. Yes. Now I gotta ask you, your audience is sharper than mine. Now, what does paradigm mean? Your audience is sharper than that, but I'm pretty sure somebody in my audience didn't know. Paradigm, what is paradigm?
So paradigm is basically the prevailing thought of the time. How people are thinking. So like during, let's say, the 1800s, the prevailing paradigm was that Black people were supposed to be enslaved. That was a paradigm.
Okay. I got it.
So yeah.
To my listening audience, to y'all just laughing, DAMIT. If I didn't know, I didn't know. But this thing, but you got news for you. Something out there that you don't know. Okay. Hey, so you're looking at the Underground Railroad podcast. We come on every Saturday night at 10:30 Central Time. And I would like for you to share this broadcast. And we do video production in Chicago. Okay. And use vidIQ to help you to get keywords, because when you press on that link, what it's doing is I will get a commission, and you know what? This would help to enhance the platform. And I appreciate it. And again, we're in the United States of America, and I have to say good morning, good night, or good afternoon, because you be looking at this broadcast anytime. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I mentioned the name of the podcast, which is The Joyful Sound, Truth and Conversation. And I have a production every Sunday at 10 a.m. So I'm posting or streaming every Sunday at 10 a.m.
Is it a specific time? Is it Eastern, Central, or
Central Standard Time?
Okay. What time?
10 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Okay, y'all got that? Since he's in Chicago. Okay, that's where he is. But to
leave a comment.
Chicago. It's your kind of town.
My kind of town.
Sinatra. Frank, people that don't know. People don't know is a singer named Frank Sinatra. They called him Old Blue Eyes. And he made a song called Chicago. So you know what? This is it for me. And done 3 shows, but it was fun. But I'm going to be doing more and more of this. Damn, it's almost like, man, you know what? I really don't need to go to school. You know something that's interesting to me? I've learned more online than in the classroom. That I am. I'm a media student at Kennedy King in Chicago on 63rd Street. It's not to say you shouldn't go to college, but you know what? I've learned more through trial and error than I learned.
I got through school through YouTube, and at that time, iTunes University. So that's what I recommend. Even if you're in school, in college, online as a supplement to your learning. Because, in fact, what I would do, I would sit in class. I would sit through the lecture. But the best classes I've had were classes that were hybrid, one in particular, it was hybrid, where we had in-person lectures, but on one day a week, and then we had online lectures 1 day a week.
Mm-hmm.
The beautiful thing was that the online lectures were recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And I benefited from it so much that even though at first preferred in person because you're there to hear it, it's an experience. You're in the environment. I there's some benefit to that, and I thought that might outweigh being online. But there's
Mm-hmm.
an added benefit to online lectures in that
Mm-hmm.
they were recorded. So it gave me
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity to go back and re-listen to those lectures. So that was
Yeah.
very beneficial. But in case you don't have that and you're meeting in person, there's a good thing that on YouTube you can normally find a lecture for the same particular class. So if you're taking, let's say, psychology
Yeah.
101,
Yeah.
you can go to class, get that lecture, but you
Mm-hmm.
can go online and get another instructor's lecture, and which was going to have a slightly different presentation, maybe a different perspective, and that just adds to your learning. And that's you're doubling up on your lecture,
Yeah.
and you can accelerate your learning.
And you know what's interesting, man? Like the background that you're looking at and the lighting. Actually, I learned all that on YouTube. And you know what? And there's an individual that's on my page that I highlight called Curtis Judd. And you know what? I sit down and listen to his recommendations about equipment to get to do what I do. I recommend you go to his page, but I learned a lot about this by looking online. And you know what? But that's not to say you should get educated. You should go to school, but some people learn differently. And you know what? But Curtis Judd gave me the recommendations by sitting down and him thoroughly explaining equipment that I needed, but he always implied, you know what, I do the research before you make this purchase. And he sort of the equipment, like I got a road mixer, you know what? He said, do the research because what works for you, it might not work for me. And but I appreciate that. One day I'm gonna get him on the show. He gives excellent. But there's just a multitude of things that you can learn on YouTube. Actually, man, to be honest, I've learned, like I said, I've learned more by looking on YouTube and utilizing those resources in school. And that's how I learned Final Cut Pro. I learned Final
Mhm.
Cut Pro. I had to pay somebody, but you know what? It's a struggle, but I learned Final Cut Pro. People that don't know what Final Cut Pro is, it's an editing system. But I'm going to say you should use whatever editing system was best for you because what's good
Yeah,
for you,
Final Pro,
what's good for
Final Cut,
you, yeah,
Final Cut
Final
Pro,
Cut may not be good for me. You should use what you use because a lot of
Final Cut.
times, yeah, because you know what, the client don't really know no difference anyway. But you should use what you should use the microphone that you want to use.
Well,
Okay,
to
but
an extent,
you should
again, after you
thoroughly
do your
do
research
research. Yeah, you should thoroughly do research and dig
and
like a
found out
terminal.
right
Mhm,
which
mhm.
microphone is best for you because
Yeah, and
um
you. Mhm,
you like it depends on your setup. Like if you're doing a multi-person stream
mhm,
in person, like everybody's there, you
mhm.
don't want to use USB mics. And depending on your setup, like for most purposes like this, you want to
Mhm.
use a dynamic mic and not a condenser mic because I am
Yeah,
in my home and I don't want, if I use a condenser mic, it's going to be picking up everything. So I have a
yeah,
dynamic mic, so it
yeah.
picks up my voice that's right in,
Mhm,
right in front of me, the microphone. So
mhm.
yeah, just do a little research and make sure you're getting what's best for your
Yeah.
the way you present.
Yeah, but you know, one other thing is I'm learning. You know what about the programs that you use? You should use what's best for you, but you should always be searching around. You should search around for things. I search around for things that might be a little better than this because technology changes. You know, technology changes. I'm using StreamYard. I'm quite satisfied with StreamYard and paying the money every single month, but I still search around for other programs that may be similar to it because technology is constantly changing. And I like to use apps and products that are very easy to use but are good. That's why I'm using StreamYard. StreamYard. Don't forget to check out the link, StreamYard, but because it helps my. But StreamYard to me is extremely easy to use, and I love the green screen effects. And that's not to say that there aren't. There are a multitude, but I'm talking about you should use what you use and not be relying and say, damn, I'm gonna use it just because you should use what you use and what you feel. But I like things that are simple, things that are not complicated. I'm not gonna say not too complicated, not complicated. But there's still, even if it's not complicated, there's still gonna be a learning curve. But I don't like using something that is rocket science that I have to figure out.
Yeah, or at least start out simple, because you may have some programs like OBS. You know, it got a lot of features, some things you have to figure out, and you may need those once your streaming operation grows. But starting out, just stick with something simple and add as your streaming grows, and then you can reach out and get the more complicated stuff.
Yeah, I think for me, OBS is a beautiful program, but see, for me, everything. See how this is just. I'm gonna show y'all something. I'm gonna show people that are still watch. I like the way it's just set up. I want to get rid of that. I ain't got to go all the way and dig into all these little settings to try to fit. But some people love that. You know, you use what you want to use. I like things that are just good and simple, but it's good. All right, brother. I'm gonna get on off, and I think we expressed ourselves, and like I said, salute again and tribute to the people the soldiers that got killed, and the soldiers and Marines and sailors that are abroad. You may be safe, and the Houthis, you got something coming for you. Okay, Houthis, you got something coming.
Houthis, not Hoochies. Okay, that's those mamas.
Okay, in Yemen, you got something coming for you. And you know what? You're gonna find out that you know what, that Iran, they ain't really got your back. They're gonna be concerned about their own well-being. You're gonna find that out. And unfortunately, you're gonna find out the hard way. It ain't funny.
Yeah,
you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out that you say Iran got your back. Iran ain't got your back. In the end, they're gonna be worried about their own infrastructure.
I don't know. I think that it's not. I think they in it together. Put it like that, because those are the assets that they have. Just like the U.S. have airplane carriers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Iran has. They have assets and what they call it. These proxies.
Yeah.
You know,
those assets are going to be. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I'm just saying that I think they're gonna maximize those. I mean, it's not like they're going to be like, oh, we can't stand behind them. I mean, that's just like the U.S. saying, well, we can't stand behind airplane carriers. No, that's part of your assets.
Believe me, in the end, they're gonna be standing by it. Now they're gonna pop like, hey man, how dare y'all attack our proxies? But in the end, they're gonna be worried about their infrastructure within Iran. They don't give a damn about they're using the Houthis and these little proxies to. They in the end, but like I said, there will be you know what? There will be continuous bombing in that region, and thank God that we did not bomb Iran, regardless of what the hawks, John Bolton and Mitchell said. Their kids are not going to be the ones to die. They're not. Mm-hmm. And Joe Biden, salute. Not even the military no more. But hey, you my man. I changed my tune. Changed my tune. Okay. But vote for whoever you want to vote for. I'm only talking about myself. Okay. All right, brother. So that's all it. Right. I'm finna go up and put a pizza in up and make my salads and salads of pray and leave everybody in the with the words of Assalamu alaikum. That means peace and blessings be upon you, whether you in the United States, you in Asia, you in Africa, you in Europe, you in Mexico. And my salute goes out to all military personnel, the military personnel that are wounded, that are hurt, are in danger right now out in the field. And you see this, my salute goes out to you. Okay, especially the Navy. But we all one big team. Got to we all get through. So, all right, my brother.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm done, but stay tuned.
All right, my brother. Take care. Take care, Prophet Johnson. Take care, sir.